Hey, it's Act One, and you guys are here on the franchise. Well, you're listening to it. Me and Logan are on it, and we're talking horror, spooky movies. And I gotta tell you, you guys know my favorite part of Halloween season: slime. And this is a slimy ass franchise we're about to cover. Holy shit. Everything's just dripping and glistening. It's gross. But you know what? It's also sexy. All right. Hey, Hellraiser. It's a big one. We're going to be here for fucking 5 weeks talking about it. 11 movies, for heaven's sake. But we've got two theatrically released ones. Two of the only, the first four were released in theaters, and that last one, I guess. So 5 out of the 11. That's not that bad. Logan Adair is my co-host. Logan, I'm scared.
Yeah,
What's up,
thank you.
buddy?
There were a few years where everybody was using those Halloween names on Twitter, and I
Yeah,
was
I
always
know.
like, "What's my name?" I can never think of it. And then I think you a few years ago, I was like, "What would be my name?" And you came up with it immediately.
Yeah,
Logan be a scare, and I was like, "Oh, so dumb."
it's
But
easy.
yeah, it is easy. And guys, we're here to talk about Hellraiser. I've never seen any
What are
Hellraisers.
they doing on Twitter now? Everyone just has Nazi names.
That's right, Nazi
Yeah,
names or OnlyFans names.
Logan SS a scare.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But well, I think it would just be a dare. No need to be Nazi and Halloween.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I
That's a
don't
good
think.
point.
But
Mhm.
so how many of these have you seen? Did we talk about that last week?
Yeah, probably. I the only one I've seen multiple times is the original. I watch that every few years. It's a good horror movie. And I'd seen the second and third ones when I was like in high school, but I hadn't seen them since. And then I watched that remake when it came out and I fucking hated it.
Right. Okay. Um. By the way, guys, I have my puzzle box here with me today. If you're watching the video, we'll see how far I can get with that throughout the episode, and
You should be
maybe.
able to complete it because you've bragged about your Rubik's Cube skills on numerous occasions on this podcast.
Well, if I wanted to just do it right now, I could, but I'm setting up a bit that throughout the episode I will solve it. But so,
Great bit. Great bit. That's for the
and then chains are gonna
video
come down.
audience. That's for the video audience. You
Right.
know, I hey, for the video audience, by the way, I don't have a soul patch. I've heard
Right.
people think I do,
One
but
commenter thought that you did. And for our
I
video audience, Daniel has on a great shirt today. Bunch of jellyfish, bright blue jellyfish. Matches
that's
his
right.
undershirt that's also bright blue.
This is what I because I already missed the summer. I'm trying to bring back the spirit of it. I can't handle this shit. Well, I mean, that's why I like living in Las Vegas. It's still like over 100 degrees here.
True. That's very true.
Yeah.
That was really an outfit for last week, Into the Blue.
It's
I'm
true. I
matching
should
the
have
theme
worn this
this
for
week,
Into
just
the
going
Blue.
all black.
That's true. Maybe I'll always match my theme to the previous episode.
That would be terrible. I hate that.
All
But anyway,
right.
guys, I guess we'll get into it, but no, we'll get into it. So Hellraiser starting off. What a great film. Not what I thought it was going to be. I told Daniel beforehand. Not so much Pinhead in this movie. Really
Yeah.
just a story about this family.
Pinhead was never supposed to be a big deal. Like, there are four Cenobites of equal weight in the original movie. Pinhead wasn't supposed to be the breakout character. Doug Bradley, who plays him, was like a friend of Clive Barker's, who wrote and directed it. And like Clive Barker gave him a choice. Like, you could either play one of the dudes who were moving the couch, or you could play Pinhead. And he was like, I guess Pinhead. And but then that turned out to be like his calling card.
Is that
Uh
actually him in the second movie?
what do you mean? Oh, yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And uh also, like, I read that Barker's plan was to like get rid of the Cenobites after the second one, and the lady Julia, she was gonna be like the main villain going forward in the series. But Pinhead was so popular, because he was like on the cover of the movie and shit.
Right. She's cool too, though, Julia. I'm a big fan. She might win my MVP in that first movie.
Really?
Yeah, I was very impressed.
I find
Claire
her,
Higgins, shout out.
yeah, I find her very unsexy. It might just
Hmm.
be that 80s hair.
I sort of bought into it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's exotic too. You weren't around back then.
Maybe you weren't
But
either. You were four by the '90s.
yeah, but I remember when women had hair like that.
You weren't never turned on by it.
No, I wasn't.
Well,
No,
probably older when you were.
it's true. I was actually noticing the main girl, Kirsty, the final girl. Her hair kind of looked like how my mom's looked back then.
Interesting. I was a fan of Kirsty. I thought she gave people never talk about her, I feel like, but I thought she was as good as Heather Langenkamp, basically, in those Elm Street movies.
Yeah, what's up? Where's Kirsty? She's just going to horror conventions these days. First of all, she gets the and introducing Ashley Lawrence as Kirsty. And so let me tell you, if you're out there and you wanted to steal my idea for a podcast, you could cover Hellraiser on that show.
Isn't
So
Halloween and introducing Jamie Lee Curtis?
I don't recall.
Oh,
But anyway, she hasn't done much. Pretty much just fucking Hellraiser movies. Because I looked her up on the gram.
mm-hmm.
That's what cool kids call Instagram, like me.
I think they call
And
it IG
no, no,
or
no.
Insta. Actually, they take off the gram. They call it Insta.
Fuck that. The gram.
The gram, you call it.
Yeah.
That's like when
I
your parents are like, "We're heading to the Target or whatever." You know, they add a the to
no,
everything.
they'll always
The
say
Facebook.
parents always think Target. They call it that. That's a really
Yeah,
funny joke to parents.
you're actually right about that,
Yeah.
and it sort of is funny.
It's all right.
You're right. It's all right.
I remember the first time I went to Target with Dallas, she called it Target, and I felt like she acted like she was telling me like a funny joke, and I was like, I've heard it.
Sorry, I've
I
heard that
really,
one.
I really stiff armed her on that one.
Good. Yeah, she never tried it since.
No, no, she still does. She commits to the bit. But
I think I got this shirt at Target, maybe.
oh wow, good for
Yeah.
you. Maybe I got this one. I don't remember. But Kirsty, what about her? I looked her up on the gram, and the first thing I saw was she took a picture with Kane Hodder, and I was like, that's
Whoa.
when you know you're going to too many horror cons,
Yeah, that's pretty
right?
fun though.
I mean, what else? Kane Hodder, does he just have a picture with anyone who's ever been in a horror movie? Is
I
that
imagine
you're
so.
required to do that? Like if you want to go to a horror convention, at some point you're gonna have to take a selfie with Kane Hodder.
I do think he's like the number one main attraction a little bit.
Why? He's in the
He's a
worst
legend,
Friday the 13th movies. He's not a legend.
but he's in a lot of them. Is the thing. I think that's why it's like he's a.
He's not in that many. He's
I thought
in
he's in like
like,
four or five of them.
I believe he's in the New Blood. He's in four. I think he's in the New Blood. Jason Takes Manhattan. Freddy. Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason X.
Okay, yeah,
All right, that's not very distinguished to me.
but he's in the most of them, so he's the Jason.
He's not my Jason. Hashtag not my
Who
Jason.
is your Jason?
Jason Voorhees.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, yeah.
What an outside the box pick.
Right. All right. L Dog,
Mm-hmm.
you want to talk Hellraiser?
I do. I don't have that much to say, honestly.
Great. Do you know much about this Clive Barker fella?
Nope. Tell me all about him.
All right, so he's a British guy, I think.
Yeah, I saw that it was a UK filmed movie.
His name's Clive. He's got to be British, right?
Clive Owen, another Brit,
That's true. Is that the only other Clive you know?
sort of.
Okay.
Clive. Yep, I think that's it.
Great, great, great
What
work.
about you? Can you pull one?
Clive.
I'm thinking Clyde Drexler, but that doesn't count.
Clive Drexler. That would
Clive
be like
Drexler.
the greatest British. But hey, R.I.P. to Dikembe Mutombo.
Mm, let's not talk about it.
I know it's sad,
A
right?
lot of people have died in the last week or so. It's
Pete
sort of scary.
Rose died yesterday.
Chris
Who else?
Christopherson.
Yeah, John Ashton from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, true.
Can you believe it?
It's very sad.
The franchise luminaries died this week. John Ashton from Beverly Hills Cop, and of course
Christopherson.
Whistler
I thought
from the
when
Blade
you didn't
franchise.
reply to my text, by the way, but I texted you guys. I thought about saying the Whistler died, but I thought that'd be disrespectful a little bit, and you might not get what I was saying. But
I honestly didn't see that text. You sure you sent it?
yeah, maybe I sent it to the wrong person. I thought I said R.I.P. Christopherson. Made me want to watch Stars Born because he was in
Oh
that one
yeah,
Stars
I've
Born.
never seen that one. The one with Streisand.
I only saw the one, Bradley.
Me too, actually. That's
What?
weird.
We got to do
Yeah,
them. Not for the franchise, but let's just watch them and talk about them.
that'll be a side podcast.
We should actually do that. That'd be so fun. Should we watch them in order? Probably.
Yeah,
What is it? 30s, 50s, 70s?
I guess.
I probably messed that up. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, Clive Barker, he was weird dude.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah, just sort of like an experimental theater guy for a while. He had a theater troupe in the 70s, which included Doug Bradley, who plays Pinhead, and Peter Atkins, who writes the first few sequels to Hellraiser. They were in a theater troupe together. Clive Barker like was making money for the theater troupe by being a hooker.
Whoa, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he was a gay hooker.
That's the coolest thing
And
I've ever heard. He made money for his movie by going out and hooking.
yeah, he did it, man. Uh, British gigolo, the
Did
lesser known.
right? Did he
Yeah,
write this movie too?
yeah, he's a writer.
Whoa.
He was not he got big in like the early 80s. He wrote a horror anthology that got kind of good notice. It's that Stephen King actually like did a blurb for where he was like the future of horror is Clive Barker.
Okay.
And
What's it called?
it's called like the Book of Blood, maybe the Books of Blood, Volume One. I don't know.
Okay, sounds cool.
Anyway, he so he got kind of big as a writer in the 80s, and his work started getting adapted, and he wasn't really into the adaptations. So he went to this company, New World Pictures. He was like, how cheap does a movie have to be for me to write and direct it?
Love it.
And they were like, we'll fund you for $900,000.
Whoa.
And so he looked at his stories,
It's a lot of
and
money,
yeah, yeah,
especially back then. What is that, like $3 million today or something?
yeah. I mean, it's still pretty low budget, but he
Sure.
basically looked at what he had, and one of the short stories he had written was called "The Hellbound Heart." All right,
Okay.
and he was like, "Well, this one basically just takes place in a house, so that would be easy to make."
Hmm.
And that's how he decided to make this movie.
Wow. What an awesome story. Does he go on too much? I didn't really look him up, but I mean, this is, I think, full of great direction.
Yeah, not so much. After this one, he made Nightbreed. That was the big follow up, and that tanked real bad.
Hmm.
And so that kind of hurt him. He did go on to make Lord of Illusions in the 90s, which I've seen, which isn't very good either. But he's still like, one of his stories was the basis for Candyman. So he's a
Hmm.
horror icon. He created Pinhead and Candyman.
Yeah. How many other people have created two icons like that?
Stan Lee created a bunch.
Okay. I was first person that came to mind was Wes Craven, but he didn't like create those guys. He just directed Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream. But that's
That's
pretty cool
right.
to me.
He didn't create Ghostface. How about Kevin Williamson? He created Ghostface and Pacey.
All right,
Those
fair
are
enough.
icons,
I'll give
right?
you those. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm talking horror icons.
All right, fine. Ghostface and that killer in the following who won't shut up about Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven.
No, I don't remember that.
That doesn't count.
The Following? What's that?
You never watched The Following, bro? Oh, it's terrible. But Kevin Williamson created this show called The Following, where it was Kevin Bacon and
Oh,
Kevin
I do know
Bacon.
that.
Oh yeah, yeah. And but
I
it
was
was
thinking a movie.
it's a serial killer, and he just like his whole thing is he's obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe, and he's like an Edgar Allan Poe like expert. He is a college professor who's specialized in Edgar Allan Poe. But because Kevin Williamson never really bothered to do any research, it just every fucking episode he's just like, quoth the raven, nevermore. And I'm like, is that the only story you know?
Was that all he knew?
Is he never gonna make a cask of Amontillado reference?
Did you give up before he got there?
I watched every ep, bro. All three
Jesus.
seasons. Uh what a show. What a show, gang. But let's go back to Clive. Does
Yeah.
Clive ever create a show? He should.
No, why would he? I guess to make money.
Yeah, right. Um, all right. So this movie, they didn't like the title, The Hellbound Heart. So they were like, change it. What do you got? Clive Barker immediately says, let's call it Sadomasochists from Beyond the Grave.
Jesus.
They're like, absolutely not. What else you got?
That's strike two. What else you got?
He goes, how about just Hellbound? And the producer was like, how about Hellraiser? And he's like, all right.
Yeah, but we'll use
Uh,
that for the second one.
we did. Yeah, we sure did. Hellbound colon Hellraiser part two.
Part two?
Maybe just two.
I think you added that part in there.
I love that you go back and read Roger Ebert reviews of stuff. Because I wanted to read Ebert's reviews of these movies because he fucking notoriously hated Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And they're just riddled with mistakes. It's like he just watched the movie and then like wrote one draft of the review, and no one fact checked him on anything.
Well, like their spelling and grammar mistakes or like
No,
plot
it's
mistakes.
plot mistakes. Like he just gets shit wrong.
Oh, right.
Like he says like they're buying a house in the original, but they're not. He got like left a house, right? It's
Yeah,
like
by
a
his brother.
family. Right, right. He just missed that completely.
How long since you were here?
Oh, the better part of 10 years. I wanted to sell it after the old lady died. I couldn't get Frank to agree. I guess he needed a hideout or something.
And then in the review of the sequel, he refers to the movie consistently as Hellbound 2. And I'm like, dude, you saw the first one and hated it. You have no memory of that?
Maybe not.
I guess. I don't
So
know.
he would write reviews and then also do his show.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
one?
Well, he wrote the reviews for the Chicago Sun-Times, and then he had that syndicated show with.
Did Gene do the same thing? He would write a review, but then also do the show.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember where Siskel was writing though. He's
Hmm.
certainly not as good a writer.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
Yeah, but R.I.P. to both of them.
They both have equally as cool names. I always thought. Gene Siskel, Roger Ebert, both legendary names.
Terrible names.
But
I couldn't disagree more.
but they're bad in the way that they should totally be famous.
They're also bad in it's exactly how they look. Like Gene Siskel, like that's the name of a bald little twat, and Roger Ebert is the name of an angry fat guy.
Yeah, you're totally right about that.
Yeah, they couldn't have reversed. You'd never
No.
believe Gene Siskel was the fat one.
But yeah, what if I was Daniel Ehrenberg and you were Logan Scare?
I fucking wish I was, dude. I'd be 25.
Logan Gray a Scare.
Logan Gray, that's right.
There we go. 26, by the way.
Oh yeah, you just turned 26.
Yeah.
We all missed your birthday, so I
Yeah.
guess I just
You
didn't
still miss it
compute
every day.
Yeah, I still miss it.
You forgot it happened.
All right. This movie came out Sept 18, 1987.
Wow.
All right.
You were 1 year old.
Right around this time.
I guess so, a little bit.
And it had $1 million budget. They ended up giving them a little more money than 900,000 because they thought it came out well. So they were like, "Well, we'll invest in the special effects a little bit."
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That really worked.
Yeah. and it made 14.6 million at the box office. So it was only number 72 for the year, which doesn't sound super distinguished, but also it made 14.5 million on a $1 million budget, which
Of
is
course.
a nice return.
Yeah.
Number 72, by the way, between Radio Days and Ishtar. It only made slightly more than Ishtar. Isn't that interesting? Like Ishtar, a notorious flop, made just about the exact same amount of money as Hellraiser, but Hellraiser cost $1 million. Ishtar was like a big budget flop.
That's all that matters is how much you
That's
put into the
all that
movie.
matters. It's all that matters, Logan.
People don't get that today.
Remembered. What?
People don't understand that today. They spend so much money on movies today when it's totally unnecessary. Remember that guy that came up with the guy who wrote American Fiction, who was like, instead of making one $300 million movie, make 10 $30 million movies. That guy was a legend. What was that? Cord Jefferson?
Yeah, Cord Jefferson.
Shout out to him. He was so right.
I remember when Titanic came out. That was the most expensive movie of all time. It cost $200 million to make. And everyone was like, that's stupid. No movie should cost that much. And now every movie costs more than that.
Yeah, seriously. I bet Madam Web cost about $200 million.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you guys want to make money? Isn't that the whole point of this?
Yeah, you would think like for the studios that is the point. Like for the writers and directors, they actually want to make. I mean, you would think they want to make art, but for the studios, you'd think the money side they should be frugal about that.
Yeah,
they just don't care. I don't know.
I thought Jews run Hollywood. They're frugal.
I don't know.
I'm allowed to say that because I'm Jewish.
Yeah, I don't want to agree or disagree.
Yeah, I know you don't. I can tell.
Yeah. We rank 87. We're not going to do 88 because that's Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's Beetlejuice, right? Okay.
87 is not Beetlejuice. You may go first.
Yes, please.
Number 10, Evil Dead 2. Number 9, Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow. Number 8, House of Games. I don't know who wrote that or who
David
directed
Mamet.
He wrote and directed it?
He definitely wrote it.
No, he directed it, yeah. 7, The Princess Bride. I feel like that doesn't get the love it deserves. I love that movie. Number 6, Predator.
What do you mean it doesn't get it just doesn't on this podcast because but it gets everyone talks about The Princess Bride. That's a beloved film.
Okay, I didn't know
there's a clip from it in that Vince McMahon documentary I watched.
I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so maybe I haven't seen it yet. Anyway, number 6, Predator. Number 5, RoboCop. Number 4, I watched it yesterday, The Dead. Number 3, Broadcast News. I love Broadcast News. I feel like that doesn't get the love it deserves either.
I think you're wrong. I think, by me. I think that was overrated.
Underrated. Number 2, Raising Arizona. Number 1, Full Metal Jacket, of course. Honestly, might be Kubrick's best.
That's so many of them.
I know.
You say of course, but that's not my number 1, man.
Yeah, yours is gonna be Raising Arizona.
Well, let's find out, huh?
I know what it's gonna be. All
right.
Near Dark.
Here's my top 10 of 1987. What are you? Actually, I have Broadcast News at number 15.
That's higher than I thought.
Yeah.
Is Hellraiser above or below it?
A little below it. I've got Hellraiser at 20.
Is that a new phone case you got there?
Oh, this is my classic Twin Peaks phone case. I've always had this.
That's the same one. Maybe I've only seen the top half of it. I haven't seen the bottom.
Yeah, huh? How about that, baby?
That's pretty cool.
I know. All right. That's like, you pull this out in public, people are like, oh, that guy's cool.
That was like me with my American Psycho phone case.
Did you have an American Psycho phone case?
I showed you when we covered American Psycho. I had a phone case. It was their cards, their business cards.
Right. I remember
the Patrick Bateman business card phone case.
Yeah. All right, here it is. The top 10 movies in 1987 in terms of quality.
Okay.
All right. Number 10, The Dead. John Huston's The Dead. Number 9 is Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Number 8,
Dead in just 2 movies.
Yeah. 8's Predator. 7's RoboCop. 6 is Radio Days by notorious pedophile Woody Allen. Number 5, Wings of Desire by Wim Wenders.
I think that's 88 is why I didn't, or 80. Yeah, 88. I think I looked it up, so I didn't watch it. U.S. release 88.
All right, finally. I mean, if you don't want that on the list, you could pop Wall Street at number 10, move everything.
No, all right, that's fine.
All right, then you got number 4, FMJ. That's what the cool kids are calling Full Metal Jacket these days. And number 3, Raising Arizona. 2, House of Games.
That is high. That's crazy.
That's that good, man.
You just love it because of the Buffy connection. You're biased.
Yeah. Right. Anything with Maggie Walsh from the first half of season 4 of Buffy would be number 2 on the list, obviously. Right. Yeah. And number 1, of course, Near Dark. That's Bigelow and my boy Adrian Pasdar.
Wow. Is that your favorite Bigelow? It is, right? What's your favorite movie, basically? I don't get it.
Yeah, everything else is not as Bigelow to me.
All right. Shout out to Dirty Dancing and Over the Top. Almost made my list.
What? Those 2 are the ones you want to shout out? Here, I'll shout out The Stepfather and Moonstruck and Street Smart and Angel Heart, which you watched recently.
Yeah, that was a crazy movie.
Yeah, I love that fucking movie. All right, Hellraiser. Oh, it was nominated for some Saturn Awards.
Okay.
How about Best Horror Movie?
Okay. It lost to Near Dark, your favorite movie of the year, probably.
No, it didn't. It lost to The Lost Boys. Not even the best vampire movie of the year.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But we love it because we took that title and used it for Buffy occasionally.
The Joss Boys.
The Joss Boys.
That's right.
That's a rip on the Lost Boys, which I didn't really understand for a while.
Guys, remember last week when I won both of my fantasy football leagues?
Yeah, what happened this week?
Lost both of them.
Ask me what
happened.
It's
all because of Derrick Henry.
Really?
He's
a beast.
I know. I was set to win in both leagues. And then Derrick Henry, both of my opponents had him. And he went off.
It is crazy. He's like in year 10, and he's like still as good as he ever was.
So fucking frustrating. How'd you do?
I won both my leagues again.
I knew you won our league. Yeah,
I'm 3-1 in both my leagues. It's pretty good. Nobody's undefeated, so I'm tied for the top of both my. Shout out to David Eep, or who is number 1 tied with me in our league.
I'm 2-2 in our league. I'm 1-3 in my other one. Ugh. I really thought I'd be 2-2. Fucking Derrick Henry.
That is really upsetting. How many points did he have? Like 30 points?
It was obnoxious.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I looked at it and like percentage, it was like, yep, you got like 92 and the other guy's got like 8. And then Derrick Henry, like I checked it like an hour later. It was like, no, you're fucked, actually. Yeah.
And he plays for the Ravens. And Lamar Jackson should be running more, I think. They should let Lamar run more. Stop letting Derrick Henry score all the points.
I kind of agree, but maybe they're scared. Tua.
They are. I get it, but for fantasy purposes.
Hawk Tua. He got taken out. Too many concussions. All right.
Can we talk for a second about, I mean, we haven't really talked about that. Why? Because why would we? But how crazy that the number 1 thing in the world for the last month is a blowjob joke, right? Isn't that so crazy?
What, Hawk Tua?
Right? The world is nuts.
We should be talking about on this podcast. You and I, we've been toiling away at podcast for a decade.
And then Hawk Tua comes along, makes $100 million.
Hawk Tua, Talk Tua.
It is a great name.
Podcast.
For the name alone, worth $100 million.
Do you know where it is in the stats right now?
It's like number 2 or 3.
It's the number 3 podcast.
What does she talk about?
I don't even know.
I literally don't know. Does she give sex advice?
Whitney Cummings on there. They just
no. I think she was on Whitney Cummings' podcast. So I think that was a while ago.
They traded.
They traded.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I think she had Caitlin Bristow maybe from The Bachelor.
Really, my favorite
Yeah,
bachelorette of all time.
she, great choice. Great
Yeah,
choice. Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
brought the
I don't know that
drama.
I can argue. I don't know that I can argue that.
Mhm.
But she let Nick Vile on that show and everything. Didn't they fuck? And then it was like she had to like tell the other dudes like I
Sean,
fucked them.
yeah, it was crazy.
Sorry guys, but I fucked one of you.
Yeah,
Uh
but then I think Sean did too. Like so it was fine. It all evened
yeah,
itself
yeah.
out,
It was okay.
and they're still together. Sean and
And
Caitlin.
but you know what? Nick, he's got a big podcast, The Vile Files. And
Whoa,
yeah, but
maybe the name. Maybe we need a better name.
better than the franchise because you know who supports the name the franchise?
Who?
HBO.
I know the new show.
They have a brand new sitcom called The Franchise by Armando Iannucci coming out very soon. I think we're going to take off, Logan, because I think people are going to like that show. And then it's going to be like people are going to be Googling, like, what is there a
Franchise.
franchise? Yeah. And that's us.
That's us.
We've
They're gonna
got
stumble.
that. That's copyright.
Should we release one episode of that show so that people we can trick them even more? They'll be like, oh, they do cover the franchise.
We
show.
should do a side podcast where we cover every episode of the franchise.
I'm not kidding. That would be fun.
It's honestly not a bad idea.
Yeah. So we'll keep the name for a little while longer, but if we don't take off from the franchise, we're changing it, and we'll be
to something rhymey.
By the way, you could just be I'm a Scare, but you could be Scarenberg. So we're both Scare. We both have the Scare last name.
Yeah. We're gonna change Here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be an all horror podcast after. If the franchise doesn't take off with our franchise sideshow, we're gonna change it. It's gonna be called Slime Time.
Slime Time with Logan and Dan.
So, yeah,
I love it.
Slime Time with Scarenberg and Scare.
And we podcast from we have a thing above us with slime, and then suddenly it'll drop on one of us. Whoever tells the worst joke every episode gets the slime.
That's oh my god, L Dog.
But what's funny is I would never get the slime. That's the best part.
No, you're right. It's true. Like I feel like I have the best jokes every week, but I also have the worst jokes. Yeah.
You just throw them out so much more than me. Yeah. I think that's good. That's what makes Steph Curry Steph Curry. Like he hits the most shots, but he also probably misses the most because he just shoots so often.
Right.
It happens. Shoot or shoot, Daniel.
It's a good point.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right.
Michael Scott.
Wayne Gretzky?
Michael Scott. Remember that?
But isn't it a Wayne Gretzky quote?
Right, but he quotes it and then he quotes it Michael Scott.
Yeah, I love that.
Hilarious.
Guys,
are people annoyed we haven't talked about Hellraiser?
Probably. I mean, I think we've been doing okay, but probably that fantasy football combo turned some people off. All right, so Saturn Awards. That's what we were talking about. Best makeup. It was nominated for that, but it lost to RoboCop. And it was nominated for best music, and it lost to Predator. Alan Silvestri.
Oh, I don't remember the music in this.
It's good. It's all gothic-y. Christopher Young, I think, is the guy who did the music.
Yeah. I don't know. I noticed a few Christophers in the credits. There were there were 3 Christophers. I was like, enough with the Christophers. So many Christophers. Anyway,
I feel like I noticed that too.
Yeah, because it's not a name you see a lot. Because usually they shorten it to Chris, but it was very specifically so many Christophers.
It's because it's British. They go with the full name over there.
William, they're never Will. There are no Wills in Britain. Yeah, it's always William.
I bet if it was Clive-topher, that's what he'd be called.
Yeah, that's how you know Clive is not short for anything because they would all
exactly. They'd all be Clive-topher. Yeah,
Clivathan.
Yeah. All right. Hellraiser, let's get into it, huh? It's a complicated movie.
I guess so. More complicated for Roger Ebert. He didn't know what the fuck was going on.
That's a good point.
They're buying a house.
He couldn't figure it out at all. All right.
And this one's so easy. I imagine the second one he was so confused. The second one is more complicated with the puzzle world and the mute girl.
The second one does have a lengthy previously on Hellraiser sequence at the beginning.
And a moment where she tells us what happened in the last movie, and we see
It's a
what
good
happened
point. Yeah, we get a
again.
whole previously, and then she describes it to us.
I think it's why the second movie is 5 minutes longer than the first movie because it has 5 minutes of the first movie in the second movie.
Yeah, that's I'm reading all those old Marvel comics. I'm in the 70s now, and like they didn't have previously pages back then. So it's kind of annoying to binge them sometimes because at the beginning of every book, like you have to have a character go like, "Remember a minute ago when we did this?"
I never even knew that was a thing previously, pages.
They started
But
it
it
in
makes so
like
much sense.
the early 2000s or something.
Yeah, that's a genius idea. Shout out to whoever did that.
Marvel, they did it first.
It had to be someone specifically, someone's idea. Shout out to that person, whoever that was.
Joe Quesada, I think. Shout out to Joe Quesada,
Yeah.
former editor in chief of Marvel Comics.
Oh shit. Daniel's just
Excuse me.
yeah, shout out to Joe. But so yeah, so Frank, there's this guy buys a puzzle box. Oh yeah, I haven't been solving my own puzzle box. I'll get to that in a second.
Oh, right. That's at the beginning. Frank. We met that guy.
Yeah, he solves it and then dies. The chains come down and rip him apart, and he's dead.
I was thinking anytime I see a guy named Frank, when I was a kid, I had a friend whose dad's name was Frank.
Mhm.
And my mom and my sister one time they like heard me call my friend on the phone and his dad answered and I said, "Oh, hey Frank." And they made fun of me for that for years for some reason. They're just go
Oh,
like,
hey, Frank.
"Oh, hey Frank."
That's funny. I love little moments like that just for some reason live on for
It
a
really
long
caught
time.
on. So no, Frank, he's this horny bastard, and he's like, I can't get my dick wet enough. I can't. My dick. There's got to be ways I can make this dick feel even better. And
Yeah, that
so,
is it. These people that like sex isn't enough for them, so they move to the box
yeah,
to see
yeah,
like what's better out there.
the puzzle box will open up new dimensions of coming.
That's right, and it opens up new ways of dying too for Frank.
That's true. So Frank, it doesn't go great. He gets the puzzle box back at home. He puts himself in a square of candles. Perfect square, by the way. I gotta give Frank a shout out for his candle placing skills.
Was it not more a rectangle, maybe?
Might have been a rectangle. It's a good call. Yeah. And he and then chains come out of the puzzle box and like pull him to hell or whatever. By the way, guy who sold him the puzzle box, very dirty fingernails.
Oh yeah, but he did too. I noticed both of them had
Disgusting.
very dirty fingernails.
What is up with that? Clean your hands.
No, it's for to make it spooky immediately.
I know. I thought about Clive Barker as like a first time director going like his fingernails should be dirty.
Yeah.
And it's like I really need it to pop on the screen, so make them really fucking dirty.
Yeah. The direction honestly is amazing. Like I loved it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I thought like he just it captured exactly what was in his brain, I thought.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I just think what's in his brain is so crazy. Anyway,
Of course.
no, this first Hellraiser's good though. Pretty. I mean, if you don't like the first Hellraiser,
Yeah, then we're
you're
in.
probably some kind of a nerd, right?
Yeah, definitely a nerd.
And a prude.
But I was gonna say then we're in for a long road, but I didn't really like the second one, so we might still be
Me
on for
neither.
a long road.
I'm with you on this. I really didn't enjoy the second one. And then I was like, but should I give it a 3? Because like they're gonna get so bad.
But the second one's not always like think about Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street. That second one's fine, but it's not one of the better ones.
But what people say about this franchise, like the party line is like the first 3 are pretty good, and then good luck.
Okay, so that's why you stopped. You had heard that after 3 they get bad.
No, it's just that like the fourth one like kind of came and went because it was like an Alan Smithy film,
Right.
and then all the other ones were like straight to video, so I just never bothered.
Yeah. It scares me that I didn't like the second one.
That worried me too. I was like, this might be a harder franchise. Like I wanted this to be really fun, and it might be more difficult than I was expecting because I didn't enjoy the second one.
I enjoyed parts of it. I don't want people to be annoyed like that I didn't like it immediately.
I like parts of it too. I mostly like the parts in the real world though. Once they got to like hell, which is like more
That's
than
what you
half
said
the
about
movie.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. You said you liked a lot of the real world stuff way more than the Beetlejuice stuff in the second one.
Maybe is that my thing now? I
I
think
think
I
so.
need things to be grounded.
I think
I've
that's
always
always
been
been your
that
thing.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a new thing.
Okay. So, Frank's in hell, and now this house is
Is up
left.
for sale. Who's gonna buy it?
It's not, no, it's
Roger Ebert was
not.
thinking, who's
Yeah,
gonna buy
yeah.
that house?
Fucking moron, bro. No, it's Frank's brother shows up and is like, yeah, this is like a family home. We've been living in Brooklyn, he actually says.
Oh.
Like it's just not been going great in Brooklyn. So let's move here. All right. How does that sound? So at this point, that guy, what's his name?
Larry.
Larry. The name's Larry Frank. Larry and Frank. Great names. They he is in a loveless marriage at this time with Julia. He loves Julia, but Julia's a fucking mess.
How do you not
Julia,
tell when something's up like that though?
I know. Like Julia just seems miserable, dude.
I
And
know.
she cheated on him with Frank.
I couldn't quite tell if that was before the marriage or after or during the marriage or what was going on.
You
I think I
you
got
couldn't were you confused by the scene where they literally fucked on her wedding dress?
they did that. I felt like in the second movie I got a lot more clarification. Like it definitely happened during they fucked on the wedding night.
I didn't think it was subtle. They
Oh, my bad.
fucked on top of her wedding dress,
That's
which
crazy.
is it's the most disrespectful thing anyone can do, I think.
Disagree. I think I think that Larsa Pippen dating Michael Jordan's son is the most disrespectful thing anyone's ever done.
That is pretty disrespectful, man.
That's where I plant my flag.
Yeah.
So yeah, they move into the house and then
Cheating's weird, man. I've had some relationships with married ladies, and I have this memory of like looking down while I was getting a bead, and
getting a hawk tour.
yeah, and her hand wrapped around me,
All right,
and
okay.
I remember like just realizing like, oh, that's her wedding ring.
Oh, she had a ring on.
Yeah,
That's not uncomfortable.
I didn't notice it.
You didn't
Anyway,
notice till you looked at it.
right. So I'm just saying, like, that's fucked
Damn,
up,
how does she
man.
still have a ring on? That's like psychotic behavior. I feel like you got to take the ring off.
I know.
I mean, she does it all the freaking time. No, like she just does not care.
I guess.
Anyway, did you know if they got a divorce? They had to.
Still together. I checked in on her recently.
Was it an open relationship or was for sure cheating?
No, it's cheating.
Yeah, that's funny. So I want to bring up something. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 4, episode 4, Fear Itself. There's a moment where Oz and Xander like are helping these guys move in this attic.
Yeah.
And Oz like he cuts his finger and blood drips on the floor. He's like, "Oh, I cut myself pretty bad." And that's like the whole incident for the movie or for that episode where they can't like that house gets possessed. I actually don't understand what happened there still. But in this, that's what happens. Larry comes in and he's all bleeding and he drips blood in the attic, and that's what resurrects his brother. So I thought a lot about Buffy in that moment.
You think David Fury ripped off Clive Barker?
I do think so. Well, we've noticed Buffy, they do a lot of horror movie episodes. Or actually Angel, I was thinking about that Angel episode where it's like The Exorcist, right?
Yeah, I've got you under my skin.
But it's also Halloween. Like the devil leaves the kid because the kid was too evil himself, right?
Right. That's
it's
the
like
twist.
Angel actually does it more than Buffy, maybe.
Anyway,
I did think of that.
Yeah, it is like that. I mean, like he literally like drips blood on the floor, and then some supernatural shit happens, which is exactly what happens in this movie.
It's so stylish the way
And
it's
it's in an
done.
attic.
It's in the attic. That's what made me think of it, especially. And I just loved how stylish it was directed. Like the blood, it's so much blood, like splashing on the ground. It's so
I know he
beautiful.
cuts himself on like the dull side of a nail, and it seems like he's bleeding forever from
Yeah, it's like the
that.
head of the nail. He's like moving in. He gets like the head part of the nail, scrapes
Right.
himself. You're right about that. But
Jeez.
yeah, it's crazy. It was awesome though, I thought.
All right.
And
So Larry, who by the way, franchise all star,
really,
played by the guy who plays Scorpio, the serial killer in the original Dirty Harry.
okay, I haven't seen those, but that's cool.
Crazy. We loved him. I think he was our MVP when we did that movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, both me and Henry. Yeah, I know. So like, what was I talking about?
Larry.
Oh, Scorpio. Yeah, yeah. So Larry and Julia, they're married. Larry has a daughter from a previous marriage,
Right.
Kirsty, and her mom's dead. I
Yeah.
wonder if we'll see that mom at some point in hell or
Oh,
whatever.
that's a good call. I didn't think about that. But I think
Yeah.
we definitely have to see that. Is Kirsty coming back though?
Yeah, we're gonna see Kirsty in a few of these.
Okay, that's good. Um, yeah, that's a good call, Daniel. That's actually really good. But if it happens in the third movie, I'll know you already saw it because you already seen the third movie.
Yeah, well, I don't remember anything about the third movie except that there's a Cenobite involving CDs. Um, but
Okay.
uh, you know, it could be latent. Anyway, um, we've got I was actually confused at first because we see Julia go up to the attic and she finds like he did it or he's close.
Just one part.
All
I
right,
don't think we have to draw attention to it. It's just for the viewing
Ju-
audience.
Julia finds these like pictures of Frank,
Yeah.
and then we see like it flashes to her and Frank fucking and shit, and I thought it was like she was just so into the pictures that she's like imagining fucking the guy in the pictures.
Mm,
But no, it's that she recognized him as a guy she fucked for a while.
that's interesting. Um, I don't remember thinking that, but yeah, you're right about that. And then she like goes up and opens the front door and has like a memory of him, like when he like showed up the first time. Like was that when they first
Oh,
met?
I'm brother Frank.
Yeah, brother Frank.
Frank is so weird, like the way he speaks and stuff. It's funny though. Like, come to daddy.
Yeah, that's a good impression. Yeah, he is weird.
Thank you. My name is brother Frank.
Why
Come
is he
to
doing that?
daddy. I don't know. I mean, it seems like the second he gets there, his like agenda is my brother's getting married. I gotta fuck whoever he's marrying.
Why? What is
I
that?
don't know. It's some sort of power thing.
Yeah, I didn't know enough about the relationship there. Wanted more between the brothers and also like why they're he
I would
why
have liked a couple scenes between Larry and Frank.
right.
That's when I got plenty like Julia and Frank. Like, yeah, they were into each other. Like they really fucked. But like we never really got a sense of what Larry's relationship with Frank is, except that Frank is sort of like the black sheep of the family. But certainly not black sheep enough that he wouldn't come to the wedding and be invited and stuff.
Right, but it comes with a vengeance. It comes with a mission to fuck the bride.
Yeah.
That's so
Also,
weird.
how old is Kirsty when they get married? Because then, like
Hmm.
later in the movie, like Frank is like trying to seduce his niece,
Right.
and like I was wondering what their relationship was like. Did they
Yeah,
have
that was
one
a really
at
weird
all?
moment. I don't know. I don't think so. I would think, or probably not since she was like 9 or 10. I
Very
think she's
weird to
supposed to be like
seduce.
17.
Very strange to seduce your niece with the line "Come to daddy."
Yeah, come to uncle more like.
Come to uncle. Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, what a yeah, that's weird. Good call.
Yeah, thank you.
So then
Uh,
he starts resurrecting, but he doesn't have any skin, so she starts bringing men for him to eat. and become more alive. And that's
Right.
all awesome.
She's like pumped. She's like, "Oh my god, the guy who gave me the best orgasm in my life is coming back to life, but all he needs is, dead bodies to grow skin. I'm
Easy
in.
enough.
Let's
Yeah.
do it." Yeah, so she's seducing dudes. I love that one dude who's like really wants it. Like he comes back to the place and he's like, "You're not gonna change your mind, are you? We're gonna fuck, right?"
The one who like they almost don't even get up to the attic. He like wants to go
Yeah,
like in the living room like
right,
immediately.
right.
Yeah, shit, that was
And then
scary. She almost didn't
yeah,
make it up there.
she brings him to the attic. She's like, "I don't need a bed." And he's like, "I guess I don't either. Let's fucking go."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Spike and Buffy don't need beds either. They just fuck by trees and dumpsters. They
They
don't.
fucked
What
in
do
a
they need a
bed
bed
in
for?
that one episode where she was invisible.
You're totally right about that. But even in that other episode, they fucked under the carpet. They ended up. They were fucking all over the room.
Good point,
They don't
man.
need. They've needed a bed once in all the episodes. So
It's true. It's certainly not essential to their lovemaking.
no, it's not essential for Julia either. But she kills him. And a big difference between this movie and that other movie, I get in the other movie they don't want to repeat this movie, but I felt like we'll get to it a little more in the next movie. But I felt like I didn't know how much time was passing because suddenly the person was just alive, but we never stopped them from completing the mission. Our good, like our heroes, Kirsty. Now I'm talking about the second movie, but I felt like time skipped and nothing changed. But anyway,
I missed. Can you explain that again? I'm sorry.
we'll get to it in the second movie, I
All right, we'll
guess.
get to the second movie, gang. All right, so Frank's upstairs. He's a slime creature. Um, you know, uh, oh, the way she finds out that he's alive is they're having a dinner party, and she like goes upstairs during the dinner party and finds him. And then Kirsty hooks up with the dude in the dinner party too. I'm like, this dinner party has been wildly successful as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you're right. I love that line. That guy. She was like, I think we got a comment on the Patreon about it. Someone was like, or she said, if I have enough of these, I won't be able to stand. And then he was like, well, lay down then. That was his
Yeah.
line to her.
I thought the dad had a good reaction in that moment.
What was that?
Okay, stop. I'm not gonna be able to stand up.
So lie down.
He gave this reaction like, that's my daughter, but like in like a fun way, like not like being like an asshole.
It is a
about
crazy thing to say, though.
I know, no, like I think that was the thing though. Like I'm not sure it was like in the script or anything, but like that actor was present enough in that moment to realize that like as the father, I would have like a fun reaction to that.
Yeah. Well, he did a good job. That was a funny
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. What happens next?
uh, we get the Cenobites. When do they show up?
Yeah, I guess we get the flashback to like Frank with the puzzle box, then we meet the Cenobites and shit. There's four of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Pinhead.
yeah, Pinhead turned out to be the breakout, but like they all have like equal screen time in this one, pretty much.
I guess
Uh,
so.
there's Pinhead, there's the Chatterer.
Okay, you'll have to tell me. There's one guy who had a weird mouth, and there's one guy who had teeth, and then there was a lady one.
The teeth one's the Chatterer.
That makes sense.
I don't know what like fans call the weird mouth one, but he's just the fat one. That's how I
Mhm.
remember him. And I like that guy. He's fun
Mhm.
to me.
I like them all.
Yeah.
And there's the weird woman with like a thing through her cheeks, like a weird
Right.
rod.
Right. Who apparently the fans call Deep Throat, and I don't appreciate that.
Why not?
I I don't know. It just feels lascivious to me to have the one female Cenobite being called Deep Throat by the fans.
Yeah,
But
I
I,
love it.
but I bet the fans of Hellraiser are a horny bunch.
Yeah,
Probably into S&M and shit.
surprised you don't love this franchise.
I mean, I love this movie, this first one. I
Really?
do. I have watched it like every few years. This was not the first time I logged it on Letterboxd.
Yeah, my first time. But anyway, so we get to a point where she says, like, hey, that remember that guy Frank? He broke out of hell, so I'll lead you guys to Frank. And they're like, all right, that sounds like a good plan to us. But then Frank is actually wearing Larry's skin, turns out. He's like completely good to go now, and he's dressed as Larry. And Kirsty doesn't know that. And then she gets there, and he like,
Kirsty.
what did I say?
Christy.
Oh, it's for sure Kirsty.
I don't appreciate that.
No, I'm sorry. And I noticed it was Kirsty, not Kirsty. Also, it's very specifically Kirsty.
Who is this? Dad. Kirsty.
But anyway, so Julia gets stabbed. I feel like there's like no plot to talk about.
No, I mean honestly, like it's pretty repetitive. Like not in a bad way.
Yeah, she just brings
but,
people
like,
to him to eat.
right. Yeah, that's what it is.
It looks awesome though, I guess we should say.
Yeah, the development of him like gaining more and more skin and muscle and shit looks really cool.
And his movements when he like slithers up to him to eat him.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The camera movements too.
Yeah, it's cool. There's a lot going on in that attic.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
But yeah, really once he like turns into a more of a human, like then like the third act starts and then the movie's over.
Yeah, then the movie's over.
Yeah. Now Kirsty is in the hospital at one point. All right. And she's got the puzzle box and she's able to get it to work. All right. And here's my question. What was up with those perfect candles earlier? Clearly, they're not necessary to get the puzzle box to work.
Right. I think that was just his thing. He like for extra to make it extra work.
You wanted some atmosphere.
Yeah, I noticed that too, though. Like, because we never need the candles ever
again.
Yeah,
that's because I assumed watching that there's some sort of ritual that must be done to get the puzzle box to work. But then it's just you have to just solve it. That's it.
Might have just been mood setting for him. Because he knew he was about to get freaky.
I'm about to come. I like some candles.
I think that's what it is.
All right. So there's classic lines in this movie. Yeah, people always remember "will tear your soul apart." That part, and also we have such sights to show you. Those get quoted a lot.
I feel like there was a better one in the second movie. He said like I have forever to learn your flesh. I was like, oh my god, that's a crazy line to say to somebody. I feel like that was like better than anyone in this movie.
Yeah, well, fair enough, man. That's the one that stuck with you.
All
right, so that's it, man. Frank kills Julia. I love that, by the way, that Frank ends up killing Julia.
But that was an accident, though, right?
No.
I thought Kirsty like stepped out of the way.
Dude, Julia at this point, like she has ruined her life just to get like imagine this, Logan. The best fuck you've ever had. All right. You picturing Harley?
I don't want to say.
He was gonna say no. Oh,
I don't want to say.
I hope Harley's not listening. All right. So we now that person dies. Okay. Then you're told all you have to do to fuck her again is murder a whole bunch of people. All right. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then right before you're about to fuck her again, you get murdered by her.
Yeah. I gotta say, I think it's different for women.
Tragic. It's tragic.
I think it's different for women because like I think you can easily probably picture the top best one, but it's not like that much different from the other ones, in my opinion. But for women, I think that it probably would be. I think like the top one would be way better than the other ones. So you might be more willing to do this if you're a woman than if you're a man.
I've got tears.
Are they that big a difference? Like yes. Number one is that separated from
enormous.
Else?
Oh my god! And the bad ones are like down in the dirt.
Yeah, I haven't had any bad ones yet. So
you're young, man. Well, although I had one like by the time I was your age.
Bad one.
Yeah,
the first girl I was with was definitely the worst one, but it's pretty much
a couple of like This is weird. I don't know, but like in high in I had sex with like a really hot girl.
Yeah. What a
Yeah.
brag. Listen to that.
No. But what I'm saying is that was the worst because
Yeah.
and I think it's just because like
When you're
when
hot, you just rely on being hot. You
that's
don't
what
have
I'm
to learn
saying.
other
You don't have
skills.
to you don't have to do any other work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much true.
Mhm. All right. Um, what do we got? Is that it?
That's it. The homeless guy throughout the movie keeps seeing her, and then at the end he turns into a big bird skeleton.
That's weird. I never understand that, and it doesn't really come back in the sequel. The homeless guy
I
kind
thought
of
he
does.
does. Yeah, the homeless
He
guy at the
does at
end.
the very end, but like we never really see that bird or dragon thing again.
It's kind of weird to even bring the homeless guy back at the end. It's like
I know.
like people would probably not remember that.
Yeah,
I barely
is
did, and I saw him the
and
same day.
I know. Who's popping for the homeless guy?
Seriously, what a weird choice.
I know. Anyway, what do you give Hellraiser?
I gotta go 4.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
its containedness and the effects and the acting. Kirsty and Julia are really good. Great
And
directing.
Larry, honestly, they've got a good trio.
I love when he has his face on Frank at the end. He's pretending he does great acting there. Larry does because he's pretending to be evil Frank. He's doing a great
Good
job.
point. Good point. Yeah.
So I'll go
Who's
4.
your MVP?
I gotta go Julia, Claire Higgins. I thought she was the best. She was like evil and sexy, but tried to be nice at the beginning. A lot of layers.
I'm gonna go Kirsty.
I think that's a good choice.
Okay.
Spoiler: she might be my MVP for the second movie.
Really good final girl.
Yeah,
We're
we
talking
don't talk about her
80s.
enough.
No, you're right. Like you compared her to Langenkamp. She's just as good as Langenkamp.
Totally, just as good. But my LVP, if we're comparing it to A Nightmare on Elm Street, which we just did, Langenkamp's boyfriend in that movie was Johnny Depp. And in this movie, we got this guy, Robert Hines, and I'm going to make him my LVP.
You're
Sorry
right.
to him.
This guy was a fucking square. I was like, how is she falling for his bullshit?
Yeah, didn't love him. And Johnny Depp, like we got Johnny Depp. He doesn't do amazing Johnny Depp, but it's Johnny Depp in that other movie. And this is Robert Hines.
Yeah, it's not even Gregory Hines.
Or Hines Ward, former Steelers wide receiver.
Oh, great.
And I think he was on Dancing with the Stars, Hines Ward.
Was he? Wow.
I'd have won Dancing with the Stars.
I can't watch it because it's one of the worst shows ever on television, but I've been keeping track of what's going on Dancing with the Stars this season.
I thought you were going to say The Masked Singer.
No, because I watched like one episode once and I was like, how do people watch this? This is fucking horrible. But because Joey and Jen, the most recent Bachelor and Bachelorette, are on Dance with the Stars right now.
Wow,
all right,
that's pretty cool.
And I really have a lot of love for both of them, rooting for them hard.
Who wins?
Joey.
Of the whole show, you hope he wins? Or
Yeah,
did you just hope he beats Jen?
No, either one of them would make me very happy. I mean, it's tough, but Joey at least is still engaged to his love, Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
But Jen, that shit crapped out instantly. Like she doesn't even have the dude she was with at the end of the show. So
over the weekend, the couple who won Love Island UK over the summer broke up. No longer
was that
together.
Sad for you?
No, I didn't think they should have won anyway. Remember, I thought that
now
yeah, I'm forgetting their name.
You liked Mildred or whatever her name.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, Sean and Matilda.
Matilda. I was close.
Way to go, Daniel. Yeah, you led me down the track. I would have never gotten there without you. Mildred was the name of my great grandma, by the way, who lived until like 104 or some bullshit.
You never meet like a young person named Mildred.
Oh no, that name's extinct. That's like literally an extinct.
I bet
name.
that would be sexy. Like if you met like
you're fucking a mom named Mildred. You might
no. I'm saying like if you were like at a bar, right, and you were like, hey baby, what's your name? and like it was like a young hot girl. She was like, my name's Mildred.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, like you'd be intrigued by that.
I don't know if it would be like sexy. You'd be immediately.
I don't know if it would be. No, sexy. You're right, but it would be intriguing. You'd want to know more.
Definitely.
Yeah, but you know what? She'd probably get that all the time. You'd think you're being funny. Like, what Well, excuse me, were you born in the 1920s? And she'd
I
be
wouldn't
like,
say that if I was interested.
I've heard it all.
I wouldn't insult her.
Oh, well, I like that. That's how you get girls, though. You neg them.
Yeah, maybe in middle school. I think you'd say, "Well,
We're
that's
of
an
a
interesting
different
name."
generation. Now you have to be nice to them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. All right. I'm just joking, by the way. I never negged anyone. I actually I shouldn't say never, but it wasn't my vibe. All right.
Ryder Strong never saw it or never gave it a rating. He never got back to me on Twitter last week, by the way. I asked him about Into the Blue.
Well, he never did. What else is he doing?
Hosting a podcast. Boy meets pod. What's it called?
Pod meets world.
Pod meets world.
Yeah.
In my first installments ranking, I put it 93 out of 314 between Deep Blue Sea and John Wick. Pretty good spot there.
That is a pretty good spot there. Any important ratings on Letterboxd?
I don't know. I didn't really look. I just looked for Ryder, my favorite.
Man, Nolan Roster gave it a 1.
Wow, seriously.
Listener of the show, participant in fantasy football.
How did Roger Ebert give it a half star? What does that even mean? He gave it a half out of 4?
It's a really harsh review. So when it's like he might have given it no stars or
So movies he
star.
says like not worth seeing, like this is bullshit. They just give a half star to.
I guess so. I don't know how they run that.
I like James Davis's review for the second movie. I agreed with him. So much running down corridors. So much. It's like 20% of that movie is just
it's
running.
True. And like it's the kind of thing like they're running so much down corridors that I kept thinking about how many of those corridors were actually built and how many were redressed to just look like each other.
Right. It looked like so much like mirrored shots of
I thought so too.
But I was into it. It reminded
me it reminded me of that Angel one at the ballet where like that hall goes on forever.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's how Beetlejuice is too. When they get to the realm of Beetlejuice, it's a lot of like mirrored hallways and stuff. So maybe it was just of the time, the late 80s.
But at least the floors are cool looking and shit.
True.
All right. So Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. This comes to us a year later. Like they got Hellraiser September 87. This one's December 88. December 23rd, 1988 to be exact. My sister's 8th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. And
did she have the thing that you did where she would go to a movie every year? Like how you would do?
Probably not. I'm more a movie person.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, she definitely didn't see Hellraiser 2. If
Has she ever seen it?
Case. I would say probably. I would say my sister's probably never seen a Hellraiser movie.
I think that's fair guess.
Yeah. I think she'd probably like the first one. Anyway.
Yeah.
She's getting close, gang.
Getting closer.
We'll see what happens. All right. So this one, Clive Barker's got the story credit and executive producer credit, but it's written by Peter Atkins, who was a member of his theatrical troupe, and directed by a fellow named Tony Randall. It was actually supposed to be directed by Michael McDowell, who's one of the writers of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
But his health was failing and he had to drop out. And so they replaced him with this fellow, Tony Randall.
Guess what? I heard that John Huston directed The Dead from a wheelchair. He was like dying.
Yeah, I know.
And then he died. Like, so sounds like an excuse by Michael McDowell to me.
Fucking, I think he had AIDS or something.
Okay. Yeah, you said that. I remember you said that.
John Huston, like, I mean, that's why that movie feels that way, because it feels like a movie directed by a guy who's looking back on his entire life.
It was awesome. That's what I felt.
I know, great film. But anyway, this fellow Tony Randall, he works for New World Pictures. He was sort of the production supervisor on Hellraiser, so he got along with Clive Barker on that movie. They were like, well, he could probably like get Clive's vision on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So they chose him. He also, I think, did some like uncredited editing on the first Hellraiser.
Okay.
So
I think he does a good enough job, sort of replicating that sort of vision.
Agreed. I don't think the directing is the problem with the movie. I think it's the narrative more than anything.
Same.
But all right, so it makes $12.1 million, just about what the first one made. Comes in at number 80 at the box office between Casual Sex. That's a movie with a question mark in the
Yeah,
title. That's
sounded
why
like
you
it.
have to say it that way.
You did a great
It's a
job.
pretty good film with Leah Thompson. And between that and Bloodsport, which we've covered, the
Yeah,
Kumite.
right.
Now also nominated for 3 Saturn Awards, just like the first movie.
Same
And
ones.
and yeah, not the same ones, but it didn't get nominated for makeup. Instead of makeup, Claire Higgins, who plays Julia, was nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and she lost to Sylvia Sidney, that
Whoa!
old lady from Beetlejuice.
Shout out.
Yeah, this time it won Best Music.
Okay, still didn't notice it. God damn it.
Yeah, and it was nominated for a horror movie, but it lost to Beetlejuice, which we talked about was weird, and we covered Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Child's Play, we said should have won, I think.
yeah, I think we agreed on that. Yeah. So all right, let's get into it. It starts with a lengthy previously on Hellraiser sequence. Goes on for quite a while.
Quite a while.
Uh
Not as
yeah,
long as
yeah.
those Friday the 13th, though. I think those are longer.
I don't know. This rivaled that in my opinion.
Really? You think we'll
Yeah.
continue to get them? Do you remember in the third one? Is there previously on
I
second
don't recall, but I hope we do because I'm gonna need them.
one? Maybe me too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think talking about them will be okay.
All right. I just feel like there's a lot of lore in this franchise you got to keep up with.
Right. Did we get that much lore here?
Like, remember in Saw, like I was obsessed with that there should be lore because the book of Saw or whatever.
Right.
Like, I feel like this is the franchise for that.
Well, Saw we got a little bit. We got like his wife was pregnant and she lost the baby and he killed that guy.
But I
Cecil.
but I thought there was gonna be like a Saw cult.
A cult, right?
Right. And in this movie, it's not a cult, but there is like an order of Cenobites. And like they've all got their own origin stories and shit. And then there's like the puzzle boxes. And like the first movie makes it seem like there's only one puzzle box, but then there's this doctor in the second one who's just got 3 puzzle boxes hanging out in his
It's
office.
true.
And so there's a bunch of these fuckers. And like, how many puzzle boxes are they? Some of them come in different configurations. The one at the end's like a different shape than a
Yeah,
normal
it's like
puzzle
it's
box.
a diamond. The
Yeah.
diamond type. Yeah, you're right.
So like, there's a lot to keep track of.
And we
I
saw
Imho.
Imho, right? We still don't know what the H stands for.
Humble.
Humble or honest?
Oh,
I think
I
we
always
still
thought humble.
I know, and I thought honest, and I think we argued about it once. But and we saw them. They turned into their human forms at the end of the movie when they died. Whenever the doctor killed them all, so I
Yeah.
assume we'll get some origins about them, probably about them as humans later on.
Oh, I remember that about the third one. I think we get
Okay.
more Pinhead origin in the third one.
We start out, yeah, we see him get turned into Pinhead.
Apparently, there was way more of that in like the original cut of the movie, and they cut it to make it shorter or whatever. So like what's edited at the beginning, that like flashback shit with Pinhead, is just like the remainder of what they had.
I think it's enough. I think that's a good enough job.
Yeah, me too.
And it leaves
But
you wanting more for the future.
Yeah, it did leave me wanting more. Like I want to know, like, because he seems like a relatively straight-laced dude in that flashback, and I'm like, this guy really wants like to push the limits of his sexuality.
Hey, you don't know what's going on with people.
You really don't. You know, Logan, you really don't.
You really don't.
Yeah,
You could meet a Mildred. She could be a freak.
it's true. What was up with the one of the dudes? Was it the Chatterer? He turned out to be a kid because they like
What?
turn him into all their like humans, right?
Yeah.
We see them get turned into humans later in the movie, like who they were before they were Cenobites, and like Pinhead's just like a dude, like, hey, I'm Doug, and then
The fat guy was a fat guy. It looked
yeah,
like.
the fat guy was a fat guy, right? He looked like fucking Porkins from Star Wars. and the lady was like a lady, and then the chatterer was a little kid.
I didn't
He was
catch
like a
that.
12-year-old boy, and I was like, "What the hell did this 12-year-old boy do
That's
to be
awesome.
turned into a Cenobite?"
He opened the box.
I gotta know more about this 12-year-old boy.
I
Gotta be
guess we will.
the horniest 12-year-old in the world. But I mean,
Yeah, just
how do you
jerk off.
get that sexually advanced at 12 that you're like already like
Maybe he
sex
didn't
is
know. He just
sex is
accidentally
boring?
solved the cube,
Oh, you think he was just like, oh, a
messing around.
puzzle?
A curious kid.
Yeah.
Maybe a smart kid. He was like, "Oh, I want to see test my knowledge, see if I can solve this puzzle box." And then he did
Maybe
it.
he was like an autistic kid,
Yeah,
like the kid in Mercury Rising with Bruce Willis.
I've never seen that.
That in that movie,
Unseen by me.
the very good. The government puts like, or I don't remember how it happens, but somehow there are like nuclear launch codes hidden in a crossword puzzle or
Okay.
something.
You would do
And
it. You do crosswords all the time. Daniel would solve
I
it. The
do them
nuclear
every day.
codes.
Don't even worry about it. It's, did the Tuesday crossword in about 10 minutes last night. Um,
Whoa.
but fucking like he it's like this autistic kid, and he's like, you know how in movies having autism gives you superpower.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just like, he solves that shit. He's like, now I know these nuclear launch codes, and then Bruce Willis has to like protect him from terrorists.
Wow. Sounds pretty good.
It's not, but it is.
Who made it? Sounds like a Joel Schumacher movie.
It's someone like that. I feel like it's like not a bad director. um Mercury Rising, let's look it up, gang. Harold Becker, the great Harold Becker.
Okay.
All right, who directed Sea of Love and Malice and Taps, and one of our favorite films, Logan, Domestic Disturbance.
Oh, hell yeah. I do
That's
love
right. Shout out to that scene where he's in the car in the back
Steve
seat.
Buscemi. That's Steve
Yeah,
Buscemi.
yeah.
My favorite actor.
That's
all
great.
time.
You want to hear my Harold Becker rankings?
Yeah, of
No,
course.
really just all right, fine. It's only 7 movies, or I wouldn't do it. 7, Taps, overrated. 6, Domestic Disturbance. 5, I put Mercury Rising one slide ahead. 4, City Hall with Al Pacino and John Cusack. Number 3, Malice. Number 2, Sea of Love, and number 1, The Onion Field, which is like a true crime thing from the 70s.
All right.
There you go. I bet you guys weren't expecting a Harold Becker ranking
I wasn't.
on the Hellraiser episode.
But my day's better for it now that I got it.
Woo!
I know what to watch. The Onion Field.
Yeah, check out The Onion Field. Yeah, that movie's good. All right. So Kirsty is in like a mental hospital at the beginning of the movie, sort of like me back in April. And
that was crazy.
Yeah, I know. And there's this other girl in the mental hospital doing puzzles that look like puzzle boxes.
Right.
And I gotta give this movie credit in terms of plotting, because there's so much that I thought was stupid at first that actually made sense as it went along.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, first I'm like, there's this little girl. What's her name? Tiffany. She's doing these puzzles that look just like puzzle boxes. And I'm like, how did they get puzzles that look exactly like puzzle boxes? Like, that's so stupid. But then we find out that the doctor, like the main doctor in the mental asylum, is like obsessed with puzzle boxes. So he's like secretly training this girl to get really good at puzzle boxes.
That's right. So they can use her.
So it made sense. I was like ripping on this movie, like, oh, she just happens to have puzzles that look just like the fucking puzzle box. Yes, she does happen to have those because the doctor did it.
Yeah, parts of it are really good, but parts of it are also.
Well, this is what I was talking about with liking the Earth, like our realm stuff. Like that, like a lot of the stuff made sense ultimately. All right, so Kirsty's and then also like I was like, Kirsty just happens to end up in a mental hospital with a girl who's obsessed with puzzle boxes?
Mhm.
Yes, because this doctor is recruiting crazy people who have had run-ins with Cenobites.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it all fit well into
It
place.
all works.
Here,
Almost like a puzzle.
wow, it all came together like a puzzle. Um,
Mm.
where my problem started to come was we see him when he gets the mattress from Julia where she died and was put on that mattress or whatever, and he has this guy cut himself, which I thought was really cool. That crazy guy was thought maggots were all over him, and he gave him the blade to cut the maggots off. But he,
There's so many maggots in this franchise. It's gross. Like the Hellraiser movies are gross. Like
they
I
are
talked about them being slimy, which they are, but they're also buggy. And I
buggy.
don't like bugs. There's that part in the first movie where like Larry goes into the kitchen and he sees like a bunch of maggots, like and a cockroach,
Hmm.
like cockroaches walking around on a bed of maggots. And I was like, this is fucking like I would never live in this house.
No, no, it's really gross. But that when the first time that he brings that guy in and he cuts himself, his assistant is like behind the curtain, like he sees him do that, right? He
Right,
witnesses
right.
it.
So there's like what's his name? Kyle?
Kyle, yeah.
Yeah, Kyle is the doctor's assistant, and he immediately I feel like wants to fuck Kirsty. Like the second he walks into that room in the mental hospital, he's like, "Oh, hello."
Yeah,
Hello, patient.
yeah,
I'm Dr. Kyle. What's up?
totally.
Um, but yeah, so he breaks into the doctor's house and he finds like all his puzzle box arcana. But I love that scene by the way too because he's by himself. So but they insisted on having him like talk aloud to himself. So it's
Oh,
just
it's
like
just the worst.
every 2 seconds he's just like fuck.
Yeah, it's so
What?
weird. Why is it so weird? What is this?
Insane. What the all right.
Yeah.
So
He didn't do
Allen
that.
would say. Yeah. Um
But my point is, he immediately saw him do that, and he was like, "We have to stop him." And then, like the next scene, he had to cut to the attic, and there are like 5, 6 hanging bodies there. Like he had had time to bring all these people in here to die to resurrect Julia. Is that her name? Yeah,
yeah.
Julia. And the assistant had never made any progress. Like what was the assistant doing in those days when he was bringing bodies by for Julia? Like we sort of fast forward that part, but nothing happens with Kyle
Well,
throughout that.
but Kyle, you don't know what level of security access he has in this mental hospital, all right? Like we see like the main doctor, Dr. Cenobite, let's call him.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Channard.
like sure. He's going to like basement levels of the mental institution and he keeps like going to these doors. He opens like one little window and there's like a guy in there like fighting the wall and he's like, all right, looks normal in here. That's what he does. And then he opens another one and it's like a guy going like rah, rah, and yep, looks normal. And then he opens another guy and then the guy's like right at the pick and he's like, yep, that's what that guy does. Like I don't know, he's got access to this
But
place.
Kyle's not trying to prevent him from doing anything. Like Kyle's just standing by and
But
letting all
I
this
don't.
happen.
Kyle doesn't know what's going on until this. He
He
walks in.
witnessed the first murder, the guy with the maggots. He witnesses that. And he's like, "Oh, we got to stop this." And
Is
then
that the
cut.
first murder?
It's the first time he realizes that
Oh, because
it's the
you're
first
right.
person he
Because he
brings to her.
just got the mattress.
Right. That's the first. And Kyle sees that. And then he does nothing to like, and then cut to like now 7 dead bodies. What has Kyle been doing?
That's a
Is my
good point. That's you're not wrong.
It
Like
fast
my
forwards it.
my whole thing was like Kyle's working at this mental hospital. Like don't ask too many questions or whatever. But you're right. After the first murder, like how long does it take him to get all those
Right.
bodies? I mean,
Yeah,
even if he's doing like one a day, he's got like a whole week.
totally. The script, it like progresses one character, but then like the other character, we just like put in limbo and like nothing happens with him
It's true.
for the
He's
whole
just
week.
going home at night, jerking off to Kirsty.
But
You
he
know,
witnessed the murder. Like it's really weird. I don't understand that
you're
choice.
right. You're
But
right. He's just going to work like normal
but
when
he
you saw
dies
your
soon.
boss murder somebody.
He gets
Yeah,
taken up to Julia, and Julia kills him pretty
is he
quick.
the LVP?
It's either him or the mute girl.
Oh, you gonna give it to the mute girl?
I didn't love
By the
her.
yo, what a Wikipedia page on this mute
Really.
girl.
Imogen Borman.
Yeah, man. She's on the sex offender registry.
No way.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. You wanna hear some of her
Yes,
great Wikipedia page?
of course.
Okay. Imogen Borman. It's a whole section, legal issues.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So she's an alcoholic now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the legal issues go up to like literally earlier this year.
Yeah.
So she is currently an alcoholic, and she keeps getting like arrested by the cops. But her problem is every time that happens, she fights the cops.
You can't do that. You
Yeah,
can't fight
yes.
the
So she
cops.
keeps getting like time added for like, you know, what do you call that? Resisting arrest.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Assaulting an
So
officer, maybe
there's
too.
all kinds of crazy stories. In August 2009, she was arrested after she was found drunk in rainy conditions with a 3-year-old girl who was dressed as a fairy.
What?
Yeah.
Did they ever get to the bottom of that?
I don't. She was just given 2 years probation, 120 hours community service. All right. She got in a drunk driving thing with 2 children in the back of her car. Was just banned from driving for 2 years. But then here's the craziest one. This is the one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On May 1st, 2023,
Wow.
Imogen Borman, the Tiffany of this film, was arrested at a pub in Montrose. All right. She stole whiskey from the bar, from behind the bar. She just grabbed whiskey from behind the bar, drank it all, uh, hit a customer a bunch of times, then took off all of her clothes in the bar, started masturbating with a whiskey bottle.
What?
Yes. Started drinking beer straight from the taps, the draft taps, and then sexually assaulted a customer
Wow.
multiple times. I
How
don't
did she
even
have
know
so
what
much
that
time to do this? How did they
I,
not take control of her?
I don't know. Maybe once that starts happening, like a girl's taking her clothes off at a bar, the bar at first is like, let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Woo.
Let's see
And
what
then,
goes
but then
down
the
here.
bottle. I think once you're like inserting a bottle, people should be
I
concerned.
agreed. So upon the arrival of police, she proceeded to, of course, resist their attempts to subdue and dress her, striking them
Yeah.
multiple times. So where she's at right now is she is, I don't know, looks sentencing hasn't happened yet.
Oh,
So she's
okay.
waiting to see what goes on
Waiting for
there.
trial.
But she's on the sex offender registry
Wow. Okay.
for masturbating with that bottle.
I thought it might have been for the weird 3-year-old girl situation. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. And in no parts of the thing does it say it's her kids. Like she's
Yeah,
got the
random
3-year-old
3-year-old.
dressed as a fairy and then the 2 kids in the back seat during the DUI. But like, I don't know
Where does
that
she find
those
these
were
kids?
her. Why is she hanging out with children?
Right. I don't know. Well, I wish her the best. I hope she gets. She gotta be pretty old at this point.
She's only 53.
Oh, yeah. I guess she wouldn't be that old.
Yeah,
I hope you
but
get your
like,
act together, Imogen.
me too. I mean, for heaven's sake,
Yeah.
you solved the diamond puzzle box.
We wouldn't have Hellraiser 3 without you. Or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11.
You think she shows up in any of them?
No, why would she?
Let's check. I would. Why she walks away from the end of that second movie
You're right.
with Kirsty, like they're gonna like move in together or something.
You're right. And if Kirsty shows up, she might. And we brought the freaking homeless guy
Nah,
back.
she's not. This is her only one.
Okay.
Yeah, we brought the homeless guy back, but we can't get Tiffany.
It's fucked up. Maybe she already had issues like at this point.
Yeah, maybe on the set of Hellraiser 2, she was already like masturbating with cameras.
I thought you were gonna say drinking, but you went to the masturbating part.
All right. What do we got? Oh,
Uh,
back to the movie, right?
right. Yeah. So Pinhead, we see him turn into Pinhead, and then Kirsty is in a crazy hospital, mental hospital, because she has
We
to
talked
tell.
about we're already way past that.
Oh yeah, where'd we get to then? Oh yeah, we
We're,
got waited like
we're
wait.
trying to like raise Julia from the dead or whatever. So
Right.
my favorite part is when the Dr. Cenobite, he like wraps up Julia like she's H.G. Wells's The Invisible Man.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah, and then he like starts making out with her and shit.
They do such a good job with the. I guess it's makeup. I don't really know,
Yeah,
but
it's so
it
gross.
looks so
They're
wet.
not afraid. Everything in these movies looks sticky and
Mhm.
wet.
I love like yeah, like when the bandage goes on her, it looks so real. Like that's going over skin that used to be skin, but is no longer skin. It's just
Yeah.
like arteries and veins and
And
looks
it's
so
so
gross.
funny because she's like, she looks disgusting without the bandages, but you could sort of see how the doctor can convince himself to be seduced by her once she has the bandages on.
I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing in the first movie was they had an affair and she loved him and she wanted to bring him back. And this movie, why does he want to bring her back? What's his infatuation with her? She's just a
Well,
woman.
I think she's his ticket to the Cenobites. Like he wants to like
Okay.
rule hell and become like the leader of the Cen. He doesn't even want to become one of the Cenobites. He wants to be head Cenobite. And
Okay.
so like I think like like Julia is his entryway to hell. Like that if he
I thought Tiffany was because Tiffany could like solve the box and they could show up and then he could like talk to them or something.
yeah, I guess you're right. I
Why
don't
does he
know.
need
That
Julia?
part of the movie is a little
I don't
confused.
get why he's in love with her.
Is he in love with her? Because
Why does he want to bring her back? Like the first movie makes complete sense. They had an affair. She loved him more than her own husband. She wants to bring him back.
yeah, here's the thing. I think what happened here was he's just experimenting, right? Like he's obsessed with the puzzle boxes and like the boundaries between life and death and shit. So
Mhm.
like once he gets hold of this mattress, he's like, let's see what happens if I spill blood on the mattress. So he spills blood on the mattress and immediately this woman rises. And I think Julia seduces him. I don't think the intention was ever to like I thought she
Right.
was just an experiment. But then like once he sees her in those bandages and she's like, "Doctor, come over here,
She
buddy."
does seduce him, but it's such a quick
Yeah.
turn for him. I don't know.
Well, that's Julia. That's the raw
She's good.
sexual power of Julia.
I guess so. You're right about that. And I
Yeah.
kind of bought it, which I guess you didn't. You said you didn't find her sexy at all.
Yeah, that's my issue. But
I
I
got it.
understand that the movie wants you to find her sexy.
Yeah, I think I got it. So
Yeah. Okay. Um all right. So Kyle breaks Kirsty out of the mental hospital. He was so excited to do that. He's been wanting to do that since day one.
yeah,
And I love the part where he runs into Julia and he finds this like phrenology drawing of Pinhead.
yes,
You know what I mean? Like it's like the brain of Pinhead. And it's like these are where the pins go.
right. It's like a blueprint of like how they
Right,
create
right.
Pinhead.
It's so
And
funny.
yeah, she finds like photo of old Pinhead, like before he was Pinhead, and like all the boxes. I really didn't like that section where she's like putting it all together. It's like she's really smart to just know all that stuff. I don't know, but I guess
Yeah.
she is. She experienced the first movie, so. But
True. Yeah. She's got a handle on the situation at this point.
yeah,
Also, another part of it is she thinks like her dad is trying to lure her back to hell.
right.
Like
That
when she's in the mental
messaging.
hospital, she sees like a thing, I am in hell, help me. And I was like, I wonder if that inspired the Nine Inch Nails song, Help Me, I Am in Hell. I thought
Oh
about that.
wow.
But
Okay.
could be. But she So she wants to get back there to see her dad, like to say it's sort of like the same motive as Ghost Rider.
The Nicolas Cage, the comic book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ghost Rider wants to go to hell to like save his, stepfather or something from a lifetime of torment.
His
And
stepfather? Who gives a shit about your stepfather so much you want to go to hell?
yeah, but he's fucking his stepsister. So, um,
Such interesting writing there.
yeah, great stuff, Ghost Rider. But anyway, so she wants to go to hell to save her dad. Like, let me get Larry out of hell. And but then it turns out it wasn't Larry all along. Larry might be in heaven, as far as we know.
Yeah.
It was Frank posing as her dad.
Yeah.
And
He's
he's
fucking
like,
evil,
come
Frank.
to a daddy.
Why is he doing
Hell.
all this? Why does he have such a vendetta against this family that he's a part of? What, I want to know what
I
happened.
don't think it's a vendetta. I just think he's like, he wants to be back in the real world so bad.
Yeah.
And that's just the only way he knows how to get it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Sorry, guys. I have to do what I have
Yeah.
to do.
I'll kill who I need to.
Yeah. Sort of rooting
Uh,
for him at this point. But I don't want Kirsty to die.
He's donezo now, right?
You have to think so.
Yeah.
But you probably thought after Halloween too, like Michael Myers is never coming back. We took care of him.
Well, the whole thing was that after this movie, like, I think the Cenobites were supposed to really genuinely be taken out by the doctor. And then the next movie, like, the main villains were going to be like the doctor guy and Julia.
Yeah. Is
And
that
then
what
it
the
was
next
just,
movie is?
no. I think like the Cenobites were just so popular that like they pivoted.
It'll be interesting to see the retcon they do in the next one.
Yeah, I'm
I
curious.
think this is a good stopping point between the first two.
Yeah. All right. So ultimately, then everyone goes to hell, and that's when the movie goes to hell for me.
Big
Yeah.
labyrinth world.
Yeah, after that, it's just a lot of running around corridors and matte paintings and weird light effects and you know,
Fun
whatever.
Cenobites, though. They show
Yeah,
up.
I know, but they get their asses kicked by that doctor.
But it's fun when that scene's fun.
And the doctor, like, every one of his lines is like a medical pun.
Yeah.
He's like, prepping
Don't forget to
for
take your vitamins.
surgery. Yeah, prepping for surgery now.
I liked it. You didn't like it?
It's
I
it
didn't
gets
love it.
pretty silly, man. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just like Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Like when I was still drinking, I did a drinking game once where we watched Batman and Robin, and he took a shot every time Mr. Freeze did a freeze pun.
It's gotta be like 15 in that movie.
Way more than that. Like by the middle of the movie, we were already so fucking wasted. It was a terrible idea for a drinking game. And I feel like if you did that in this movie, you would get just as drunk.
Really? I thought there were like 5 in this.
No, it's every once he becomes a Cenobite, every
That's his
single
go-to.
line of
His
dialogue
MO.
he has is a fucking pun.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just can't remember any. Like none of them stick out.
I
to
know.
me.
I wish I could. Let me see if the
Maybe I'll
if
put them
the-
in for the video part though.
Oh, the doctor is in.
Yeah.
That was one.
Yeah.
Any others here?
No
I'm just
more
looking at
monkeys jumping on the bed.
What the fuck is that?
That's what the doctor said. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed."
Yeah,
You never heard that?
I guess so. I recommend amputation. That was another one. It's just all yes, we get it, bro. You're a doctor, Dr. Cenobite.
The doctor. Is he?
Anyway, what else you got?
Really nothing. I don't know. We just like run around a whole bunch,
Yeah, I know.
and then Kirsty puts on Julia's skin. That was cool.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, Julia dies at one point, so Kirsty puts on her skin to trick Doctor.
Yeah, so you think like Julia and Dr. Cenobite, they've just like got this now. Like the two of them are like,
It does seem
You
like it. It's over.
you're donezo, Tiffany. But then like Julia's like saving Tiffany, and you're like, wow, that's why she's doing that. And it's because it was Kirsty wearing a Julia suit.
Yeah, it's pretty beautiful in that moment.
Yeah, kind of was. So her arm comes up.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then it ends. We like beat all the bad guys. And then those moving guys die at the end.
Ryan, that pillar rises from the
Yeah.
attic
It
or
spins
whatever.
around. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Um,
It is cool and unique.
I'm interested in where it's going. This one didn't do much for me, but it had good bits.
Definitely good bits.
It had some good ideas.
Yeah, but I just can't get excited for it, honestly. It's hard to. So I'm gonna give it a
It,
2.
it's just repetitive and running around and whatever. I'm also gonna give it a 2. I didn't hate it or anything. It's just sort of like once they get to hell, it just gets a little boring to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. My MVP, I'm gonna go with Kirsty. Ashley Lawrence is the actor's name. We haven't said that, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure I said and introducing Ashley
Oh, you did
Lawrence.
say that. You
Yeah,
did say
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'll go with her again too. Why not?
Oh wow, both of them. And the LVP, who did we say it was Kyle? I wrote down Imogen Borman, but do we want to go Kyle?
I don't know. I sort of liked Kyle for a while.
Yeah,
Like so it's I don't know. Who's should it be Tiffany?
I'll go with Tiffany just because she made so many faces. I was like, come on, start. She's like
Well,
made
she's
faces.
mute. She
She's
has
ran
to.
and she ran around the whole movie. At least Kyle was like, I was interested in that part, but he
Yeah,
doesn't
you're
do
right.
anything. Like he doesn't make any progress to stop.
That's the thing. Like Kyle's storyline is compelling, but Kyle doesn't really make anything happen. He fucking did it.
No, there's no chains coming out so far yet. So looks like I survived the puzzle box. What now, Pinhead,
That's
motherfucker?
just a Rubik's cube, dude. I'm telling you, when I worked at the comic book store in New York, we had this like replica of a puzzle box from Hellraiser that was like hundreds of dollars, and it looked like it
Whoa,
was made of like real gold and shit. Fucking crazy.
that is so cool. I didn't
Yeah.
know if I loved the puzzle box at first, and like the effects that they do with it. I was like, this is like super cheesy, and doesn't
And
really
it
hold up.
seems easy, right? Like I feel like the puzzle box would be really hard to do.
Yeah, it seemed like they just like turn the little knob sometimes, like,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah,
turn it the
just
reverse
turn
way
it
to
2 ways and then you're fucking it's done. Get ready
right,
to come.
but not with the diamond one. The diamond one, because that's true. Like if you find like a 2x2 Rubik's cube, I probably wouldn't be able to solve it because I only know how to solve the 3x3 Rubik's cube. It is harder when they did get into different shapes and stuff. It's a completely new game. So, and she's perfected the square.
Oh, that should be the tagline for the next movie. It's a completely new game.
That's pretty good. That sounds like
Yeah.
Saw though. Sounds like one of those. But so now she knows how to solve the cube boxes and the diamond boxes. She's getting really good. It's dumb they don't bring her back for the next movie.
Agreed. Yeah, she's an expert.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't get her, as we said. But so my second installments, this might be too low. I put it 144 of 189 between Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, your favorite movie,
Shut up.
and Exorcist 2, The Heretic. So there we go.
All right, yeah.
Can't wait to do those Fantastic Fours.
Oh, me neither. But we'll do them when the new one comes out.
Totally.
Because that's a crazy franchise. Because you got that weird one from the 90s that like Roger Corman produced, and then like the two Jessica Alba ones
Fan Four
and
Stick.
Fan Four Stick. Yeah, they've really tried with that franchise so hard.
And their best one, according to you, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
I actually think maybe Fan Four Stick.
Oh, wow. I remember liking the
Yeah.
first like 20 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, there are parts of that I kind of liked.
Yeah, you're right about that.
All right, so you want to read from the Patreon?
Oh shit. I would love to do that. Yeah, let me pull up the Patreon. I have not done that. A bad job by me. But here we go, guys. Pulling it up. It's loading, as you can tell. So First comment. We have 7 comments here. Thanks, guys. We didn't get any for Beetlejuice or whatever we did last week, Into the Blue.
Yeah, they stepped up this week.
I think that's why they did. So thanks, guys. Joshua Cole says, these are some of my favorite horror movies. The first 2 are classics. After that, they get a bit weird and wild, especially the later ones. They kind of get terrible, especially, or eventually, but still fun. Get terrible eventually, he says. So Evil Chris says, Hellraiser 1 through 3, solid. Good luck after that. So that's what you've heard forever.
Yeah.
Eric Nelson says, do you think acupuncturists were upset when this came out? I would be.
What? Why? I think it's like advertising your trade.
Yeah, it might drive
more
business.
People went to acupuncturists after this came out. They were like, hey, I always thought that would hurt, but this guy seems to find pleasure in it.
Yeah, I would think they liked it, Eric. And then Tim says, please have Dan rank Cenobites by fuckability. So what, the first
well
5,
look,
including Dr. Cenobite?
I'm a straight man, so I guess I gotta go with Deep Throat, number 1, right?
Yeah, right.
Then the Pinhead.
Are we counting the Doctor?
Pinhead's sexy. There's a raw sexual magnetism to Pinhead. Then
it's too dangerous. So many pins.
It's true, but like the rest of his body seems normal, and he's got all that cool leather on and shit. I'll go with the fat one, number 3, more cushion for the pushing. Then the Chatterer freaks me out, and Doctor last place.
I like that ranking a lot. I think I might agree with that.
Okay, great.
That's good. And then Ross Beck, shout out to Ross Beck. He says, a wild franchise might take the crown from my Universal Soldier pick for the highest highs and lowest lows of the year. I'd say that had higher highs, Universal Soldier. I almost gave that a 5, I remember.
I don't know. The first Universal Soldier and the first Hellraiser, probably around the same level of quality.
Around, but I go Universal Soldier. Gotta love that 80s flirting at the dinner table in front of her parents. I can't have another or I won't be able to stand. And then the boy says, then lay down.
Yeah.
And then Ross commented again. He says, also the scene where Julia lures the guy from the bar to the house and they're taking their clothes off 100% reminds me of, and then in parentheses, inspired, question mark, the famous scene in Friends where Phoebe and Chandler try to convince each other they're going to have sex. Maybe you should take off your jacket. Maybe I shall. Maybe you should do the same. Perhaps I will. So I don't remember. It
definitely didn't inspire that, but that is a classic Friends episode. I wish I could.
The one with
I don't remember the names of them anymore, but it's the one where someone finds out. I don't know, but it's when Chandler and Monica are still trying to hide their relationship and thing and stuff. Oh, it's called the one where everybody finds out. It's from season 5. It's all coming back to me, and so Phoebe's like, I'm gonna try to fuck Chandler, and he'll balk at that, and that'll prove.
Oh, I do remember this.
Yeah,
I totally remember this. Yeah. Of course. And then James Davis says, the second one is bad, but I really wanted to like it. There is a vision to be found in it, even if it is total nonsense. Found it funny that you could totally believe Julia would be able to seduce men to be the victim of Frank's rebirth in the first one. I got it. I really got that. But in the second one, how the hell did that old miserable looking Dr. Cenobite get all those young women to agree to come to his house? It's a good point. She's seducing people in the first movie, but how is the doctor doing it in the second movie?
He's taking mental patients from like that's why we get
it's all mental patients
where he goes down to like the basement of the mental hospital where all like the really crazy people are.
Yeah, and they had their eye up to it and stuff.
Yeah. He's plucking those guys
Makes total sense.
Yeah, for this purpose.
I noticed they were all women too. Like when he had them, there were a bunch of women chained up, and I sort of thought the same thing. But the first guy was a man that he brought in, so I guess he just kept doing that. This
was like the mental hospital where Freddy's mom gets raped.
Yeah,
in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Back then in the 80s, like they just portrayed mental hospitals as places where like motherfuckers in white sheets were just running wild, going like
crazy shit was happening.
Yeah.
Forget it. Just cut to Julia being normal again. Also, in both cases, wouldn't seducing fat people get the job done quicker? That's a good question.
Wow. Now
Maybe just get
that
one fat
is
person.
interesting. Yeah, you could probably fuck one fat guy. Or you don't even have to fuck him, just kill him with a hammer or whatever.
Yeah, just get him there.
Kill one fat guy, and that'll probably that's like enough for like two thin guys.
I
So you
like that
kill
idea.
fewer people.
I bet we'll see that in the future. We'll see fat people being thrown
Yeah,
in like that.
there should be like a someone's targeting fat people. What could it mean? They're going after their
Hellraiser.
flesh and shit. Yeah,
Must
it's
be
a
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. Hmm.
So that's a great job, James Davis. Shout out to you.
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
even think about that.
brilliant.
Yeah, way to go. And if they don't do it in the future movies, then James, you caught on to something they might not have.
Pitch that to the Hellraiser producers.
Yeah, they're still making them, so try it out. I want to say we on our YouTube channel we have 903 subscribers. Okay, so my goal, try to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. What do we
Wow.
say, guys? And if we do
Yeah.
that, we'll figure out a way where I'll let one of you pick a franchise for us to cover. I don't know how we'll do that, but a
Can
random
you figure
listener.
out who the thousandth?
I
Whoever's
don't.
the thousandth one.
Yeah, but I don't want to then like all the people who've already been subscribed won't get that. I'd rather it be random. I think.
Okay, yeah, well, you could well, whatever, you figure it out.
Yeah, maybe, but I think that'd be fun. Try to get to 1,000 subscribers. So
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd
yeah,
feel
so
good.
that link will be in the description. I remember I was like texting my brother and my sister. I was like, "Can you subscribe so I can get to 500 subscribers?" Like I was really sad, and now we're almost at 1,000. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks for doing that, guys. That's not, you could just listen to this as a podcast, but it's cool that there's a lot of shit on that YouTube page. Like Logan has done an amazing job with that YouTube page.
There's a video on there of Godfather 3 edit of all of Sofia Coppola's lines and gestures in the movie. It has like 700,000 views on YouTube. It's crazy.
Well done.
There's a tutorial if you want to know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, like I just did in this episode. There's a tutorial I posted on YouTube where I show you how to solve a Rubik's Cube.
Really?
100%.
And that's on the franchise.
It's on the. I was posting anything to try to just get people to find the channel.
Is the Big Brother 9 edit on there?
It's on there, yeah.
Wow.
It's like 30,000 views. That's like our second most viewed video.
That's incredible. All right.
But yeah, so that's what's next week, 3 and 4.
Yeah. Next week is Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, and Hellraiser Bloodline, and with Alan Smithy. And so come back for those, the final 2 theatrically released ones of the original run of Hellraiser movies. And please come back later in the week for patreon.com/the franchise. We got Hey, I'm Watching here coming your way. We've got Buffy and Angel. Crazy week this week. We're doing Hell's Bells.
I already watched them.
You did?
Already, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Sleep Tight, baby. I love that episode.
The Buffy one, though, is crazy.
Yeah. And then we've
Comp
got
Beast.
Comp Beast with Big Brother 24 we're doing. And He Swift Reputation.
Well, we're not. Well, which one are we doing this week? Hey, I'm Watching here or He Swift, because only one of those are Friday. We alternate every Friday, but last Friday we did 2008. So what's this Friday?
Yeah, you're right. Well, cool.
I was thinking Ham Watching
Monday,
here.
so I have the weekend.
Yeah, but I was thinking I'd rather do Ham Watching.
Yeah. Let's do Ham Watching here. He Swift will do next week. Reputation Era. Look What You Made Me Do. And also, of course, are you ready for it? All right. Now, you know how we end the show in October.
Oh, how do we end it?
Slide.